have you made money from this?
I think I made my first dollar yesterday. First dollar. It was $1.99. I think it was a mistake transaction because Meta took it back today. Now
A few moments later.
I know people listening to hear a dollar. Why are you watching the rest of this podcast? Let me stop playing. If not now, when? Right? Like, time is moving with or without all of us. And sometimes we're not motivated enough with our own self-interest or for our own personal gain, even though we do want to advance our lives. Sometimes it's the thought of somebody else. So the question I would ask you is, whose life doesn't change because you don't get started?
Grace and peace, grace and peace. Welcome to another episode of the Legacy Inspired Podcast, where I am your host, Randy, and it's another day above ground. And I'm happy and excited to be here. God has been good to us, and we are forever grateful. Listen, this podcast episode is going to be for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you're new to the show, we're just trying to help new and aspiring entrepreneurs. There's not a lot of podcasts out there for new and aspiring entrepreneurs that are working 9 to 5, that's trying to figure things out and transition from 9 to 5 into their dream. As a matter of fact, I'm in the same shoes that you are in. I'm working a 9 to 5 too, and I felt like this podcast was needed. And so I took it upon myself with much prayer and much seeking God, and I wanted to create a platform specifically with you in mind. And today is going to be nothing short of amazing and remarkable because I have a special guest who knows what he's talking about. And I believe he's going to come on and really share the game and share the secrets as it relates to growing on social media. If you are trying to grow on social media, this episode is going to be for you. If you're trying to learn strategy and frameworks, this episode is going to be tailor-made just for you. And without further ado, you know how I do. I usually don't like to introduce people because I feel like who I'm introducing, I'm not worthy to introduce. So I'm gonna just let him come on and introduce himself. Okay. There you go. There you go.
Let's get it.
Yes,
What up,
sir.
Randy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go.
It's on and popping this morning, Doc. It's
Yes,
on
sir.
and popping. Listen,
Appreciate you, man.
I have Monty, but I'm going to let him introduce himself, man. Monty, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are, why you here, man.
Hey, listen, Randy, appreciate you first and foremost for having me. It's a blessing to just have, another platform to hopefully inspire people, man, and empower people and give people the courage and resources and information that they need to take at least one step forward in their journey, in their pursuit of a better life through entrepreneurship. And obviously this talk today, this conversation today is more geared towards social media, but I mean, look at how powerful of a space it is, man. A lot of people are creating full-time careers and, getting their time back, making a great impact and being able to feed their families on the shoulders of what they've been able to do through social media. And I can definitely attest to how big of a blessing, social media has been in my life and for my family as well. But for everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Monty. I am a social media strategist, specifically focusing on Instagram, and I'm a content marketing strategist as well. And within that, I'm a content creator because on social media, you got to create content for your business and for your brand. So by default, I'm a content creator, but not just by happenstance. Like it's something that I put time into, something that I believe is an extension of a gift of mine from God and something that I do take pride in as well, man. So, I've been coaching for a few years now and started my coaching business in 2020 during the pandemic. And it's been a ride, man. It's been a ride in terms of navigating these digital streets and building a community and, figuring out what products and services to offer and just kind of go through the whole ebbs and flows of the nature of social media. in and of itself, man. But it's been a blessing, and I'm excited to just answer questions and provide value in the best way I know how, man. I
Man,
appreciate you.
hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Listen, I think you are definitely qualified to answer any of these social media questions, man, because you have been killing it on social media, man, the last few years since you started. And I remember when I first started following you a couple of years back, actually, I said, "Who is this dude, man? Dancing and dancing and gyrating." I'm just messing.
Hey, now don't be using words like that on this podcast.
Right, do it.
Don't be
Hey, man,
no gyrating, no percolating. We ain't
no
using none of those words.
percolating. Right. I said, man, this dude is really captivating, man, and he really knows what, and he's coupling entertainment with education.
Yeah.
And I went to your page, and I'm like, man, this dude is solid. This dude is solid, man. So I started following you because you were not only entertaining, you were not only comedic, and we're gonna get into that because I saw some videos. I saw some
you
videos.
You went into the archives, huh?
I went into the archive.
Okay,
I
fair
went into
enough.
the archive.
Okay.
I went into the archive, and you couple all of these skills and this gift into one framework, and you're educating people on Instagram primarily, man. And you're getting followers, you're getting engagements.
Yeah.
I'm sure your insights are going, skyrocketing.
And so, all right.
Hey, man, they doing something. I want to start off with this. Have you made money from this?
I think I made my first $1 yesterday. Coming onto the show, my first $1 was $1.99. I think it was a mistake transaction because Meta took it back today. Now I'm messing with you, man. I know people listening to hear $1. Why are you watching the rest of this podcast? Let me stop that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't know if we're gonna make it through that.
We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through it.
We're gonna get through it.
But yeah, man. I've been blessed to be able to generate income. This is what I've been able to do full time, and definitely periods of struggle in the beginning stages. Call it my pride, call it circumstance, whatever. But, when COVID hit, I had already known at that time that working a job was not really for me. I always wanted to have the freedom and flexibility to, do my own schedule, use my skills to make money at will, not really have a cap on what I could make or a time restraint behind it. And I don't knock having a job at all. I think the smartest thing for people to do is have a 9-to-5 job while you build your business, because of the simple fact that you need some source of stability, right? Because business is not all peaches and cream. It's a challenge. There's a reason why a large percentage of, new business owners go out of business in less than a year, and then even more in less than 3 years. You got to have that cushion, right? But there are those unique individuals like myself where it's like, no matter what job you put me at, because in my spirit, I feel like I don't belong. I can't even be present for that job that I have. I can't really show up the way that I would be needed to be to show up. I can't, really buy into, having somebody else telling me what to do every single day, every single moment. And again, that's just me as a unique person. I don't look down on jobs, and I don't look down on anybody that has a job, because you're doing work to be able to provide for yourself, be able to provide for your family.
Right.
But if you have that feeling in your spirit, like I did, and like I realized a long time ago that like, this isn't for me, then entrepreneurship is definitely a space for you to consider. But it's good for you to have a job to support that, because the beginning stage for me was rough. You know what I mean? Like it was during the pandemic. You know, I was getting some of that government cheese, you know, the
Yeah.
PPP, the ABC, the
Yeah,
EFG,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, that. I know the feeling, man.
you know what I'm
Come
saying?
on. Come on, stimulus. Stimulate
Come on,
me.
hey,
Stimulate.
I need to be stimulated, baby. Come stimulate your boy. Let me stop playing. Come stimulate me, man. I'm by the mailbox. Come and stimulate me, all right?
Yeah.
You find me at the mailbox.
I told y'all he's a comedian. He's a comedian.
Yeah, man. So
But yeah.
yeah, it was rough in the beginning, but it was exciting because it was something new, and I had made a decision to do something that I believe was in alignment with my natural abilities and my gifts. And I just got all the positive confirmation that I needed when I needed it for me to keep going and have the capacity to get to where I'm at now. And like I said, man, it's been a blessing, man. And
Yeah.
so in long, yes, I've made money.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear. What did you do? What was that job prior to transitioning? What was that job you was doing?
Good question. Yeah. So at that, excuse me, at that current point in time, I was doing solar, right? I was a solar energy sales person, right? Or a solar agent. So basically I would help homeowners get qualified or help them find out if they're qualified to get renewable energy through solar panels installed on their home. Okay. So I was doing that for a few years, and that was bringing in some good money. It's a great industry, and it's booming even more now.
Right.
So if, you know, Mark Zuckerberg and Adam Mosseri and them, if they start acting up on Instagram, I might have to go back to the
Hey, man. Hey, you might have to put me in, coach. Maybe.
Yeah, right. So that, long story short, I was doing that. And because that was like a door-to-door, in-person type of gig, when the pandemic happened and you couldn't even be, you know, any more than 6 feet from somebody,
right,
the company I was with kind of took a pause, and, you know, my income dwindled because of that. And in the midst of that, my passion for that kind of dwindled as well. And I had that epiphany that so many people had during that time, like, man, is this really what I want to be doing? Do I really feel like I'm in alignment with my purpose doing this? Like, yeah, I can do nice things, I can help people in a certain way, but it's not I don't feel like I'm in alignment while I'm doing it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big moment for a lot of people, when you could be making a lot of money in your job, but something in your spirit is telling you, hey man, you're not fulfilled. Exactly. And now you got to go on that search for something that's more meaningful to you.
Listen, talk about that feeling, man. What was that feeling like for you when you question, like, man, I'm not being fulfilled? Mm-hmm. What was the disconnect there? What was the gap that you were feeling? If you can kind of go back to that feeling, that gut feeling that didn't sit well, could you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I think that it could be. I personally feel like, just based on my faith, like it's a spiritual thing. Like your spirit will tell you, you know, hey, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. This is the right place to be, this is the wrong place to be. This is a good person to be around, this is not the best person to be around. This is the right energy, this is not a good energy. Your spirit kind of tells you that stuff. And we've all had moments in our lives where we had this thing that we call intuition. And I think intuition is spiritual led, it's spirit led. And when it came to just that time, like, I just felt I didn't feel like I was in my purpose. I didn't feel like I was doing what God was calling me to do, or I was using my gifts in the way that God called me to use them.
Were you aware of your purpose, though?
What's that?
Were you aware of your purpose?
No, still searching for it, right? But I feel like, and you know, call me, you know, crazy if you want to. No. But I feel like, you know, God gives everybody their purpose at birth. And subconsciously, we actually know what our purpose is. I feel like our spirit knows what our purpose is. It's just that our life is the journey of discovering that purpose and embracing that purpose, and, you know, walking in that purpose. And by doing so, you bring people to light. you inspire other people, you help people, you help spark the flame that gets people going in the direction towards finding their purpose, right? So I feel like it's a whole chain reaction, but I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I wasn't excited to talk about solar. I wasn't excited to, talk about these panels. Like, yeah, there was some excitement because I understood how they could benefit the environment, how they could benefit the home owners financially.
Right.
But I realized a long time ago that one of my gifts is creativity and my sense of humor. And of course, I can use my sense of humor when I'm talking to a homeowner about their house and about the pen. I can make it fun and entertaining, the whole process of consulting with them, but it just wasn't the same. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't feel like this is doing anything for me creatively. I don't feel like this is really allowing me to, utilize my gifts in the way that are truly in alignment with the way I need to be using them.
Right.
So that was just a moment I had there. And I had that moment with other things that I was doing prior to that. But, you just go through the motions. As long as, you get to this place where it's like, all right, money's coming in, like I'm paying my bills, like everything's all right. But, and you kind of ignore that tug in your spirit saying, yo, man, like there's something else out there for you. There's something different that you should be doing. When everything is okay, you're usually ignoring that tug. But when things kind of get swayed and when things kind of get flipped over like they did when COVID happened, and you have that time to really self-reflect, it's like, man, if I had the option of doing something else and making the same amount of money or more, would I go back to signing up for what I was doing before the world got shut down?
Right.
And the answer for a lot of people was, I probably wouldn't go back to what I was doing. Right.
Yeah.
It was just available. It was just a cushion. It was just something. It was a lifeline. But if I had to start all over, I would do something else. And I found myself in that position when COVID happened and when, the company I was working with kind of put things on a pause and I didn't have that money coming in and I was, getting that government cheese, and I had time to really self-reflect and think to myself, like, what do I want to do? So, that's the best way that I could explain that feeling that I had, man. I just didn't feel fulfilled. I felt like there was something else out there, and I felt that my gifts could be used on a much more grand scale.
So this was what year now?
This is in 2020.
2020. So 2020, you were working a solar panel job, and then in 2021, what were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing the solar. I was working in solar for since 2017, 2018 until 2020.
Until 2020.
Yeah, so it was the summer of 2020 when I got the bright idea to spend 8 hours making my first coaching presentation to sit down with one of my friends.
That was a big jump, man.
Yeah,
that was a quick trip because how do you go from selling solar panels? Were you educating yourself on social media or educating yourself on coaching? Were you buying courses? What were you doing at that time?
Yeah, great question.
That got you into coaching.
So in the midst of doing the solar and I was also involved in direct sales, network marketing. I was involved in network marketing for about 7 years.
Since 2007.
No, I was I started.
I was involved in network marketing too.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
I was 5 Links.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah,
5 Links since 2007. Yeah. I actually took a pivot. I felt like it ran its course back in actually 2021. I said, I think this ran its course, so I'm a pivot. I had gotten introduced to the online space. I said, I think I want to go this direction. So that's cool, man.
Yeah, man. And network marketing is where I really got groomed into entrepreneurship.
Same here.
Yeah. The mindset, the work
personal
ethic.
development.
and personal development was huge. You know what I mean? So I was doing that for 7 years. And then as I started to feel like that was running its course, I had gotten into solar, but I was also on social media. I was using social media to try to funnel people into the business that I was with in network marketing. So I was on social media posting, and when I was traveling, when I was at events, just trying to build some curiosity to open some doors of conversation. But my wife and I, she was my girlfriend at the time, we had started a foodie page because, we met through the company. And we realized that, we love food. We love trying new things. We love having new experience. We bond over food. And we had this crazy idea to start a foodie page because we saw that there was this thing called influencers who were making a full-time income, taking pictures of hamburgers and hot dogs. And we're like, if they could do that,
we could do it.
We could do that. I got a phone. I know the hot dog stand is at. I know where the pizza shop is at. Like, let's go do this thing. So we started that towards the tail end of, just our run with the network marketing company, and then going into me doing the solar. And we started our page, and I was just on my phone like hours every single day, just for hours, just talking to people, liking posts, commenting, taking pictures, posting it, taking videos every time we went out to eat. Like, I was that guy that's on the screen. Like, you watch these Instagram videos, like I'm the guy that's like this over the food. And then when you pan over to their spouse, my wife is like this with her fork waiting to eat. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can we eat now?
Right.
But it was fun. Like, we really got into it, and we started working with restaurants. We've probably eaten like over $10,000 worth of free food. We got paid for like certain brand collaborations and brand deals, and it was cool, man. And that was like the start of my like real journey of growing on Instagram with intention and strategy. Mm-hmm. So when the pandemic hit and I had that moment of clarity and I realized like I want to do something for myself, I started thinking like, what can I get into that it feeds my soul in terms of me utilizing my creativity. I can use my sense of humor, which is natural to me, so I can show up authentic, but I can also help people and I can make money. And then I was like, you know what? With the pandemic happening and everybody being home and everybody transitioning to using social media more and starting their own businesses and only being able to really grow it in the digital space right now, like, it's a good time to get into coaching. And I don't know everything, but I know more than the average person. And that could be a starting point for me to, begin a coaching business. And that's when I was like, all right, if I'm going to coach people, I need a presentation. So like I said, for about 8 hours that night, from like 8 at night until 4 in the morning, mind you, like I'm sitting in the bed with my wife, my girlfriend at the time. And where, I was sharing an apartment with my mom and my younger brother and our dog. And I was like, I was looking at everything around me and I'm like, yo, like, it's time for me I need to do something. I need to really take a chance on myself. And because every time I've taken a chance on myself, like, God provided, like, if you build it, he will come. If you have enough faith to take a step, he'll love you enough to put a platform underneath your foot, even though you didn't see a platform there when you took the step. Right. So that's a bar. Yeah. Yeah. Write that down, everybody. No, but at
get
the end of the
pens
day,
and paper, Doc.
yeah, so just everything that my wife and I did with our influencer page, that is what was kind of like the anchor of encouragement and confidence for me to start coaching, even though I wasn't like a coaching on social media before. Mm-hmm. I had the confidence because I was like, yo, like, we've been able to do this successfully, and I may not be at level 10, I may only be at level 3. But at level 3, I can coach people who are at level 1 and level 2.
That's right.
I don't got to wait to be at level 10 to coach somebody who's at level 1.
That's right.
And that just kind of
and most people think that you have to be at the level 10. Right. That's the assumption. For a lot of new and aspiring entrepreneurs, they feel like, man, I gotta wait till I get this. I gotta wait till I get this. I gotta wait till I get my LLC. I gotta wait till I get my bank account. Yeah. I gotta wait till I do that. I gotta wait till I gotta go. They gotta wait to get something done in
Right.
order for them to really start what they really want to do.
Right.
And
No, you
so,
don't. You
yeah,
don't.
and you don't, man. So I'm glad that you really took action. You
Yeah.
really took action. You started with what you had.
Yeah. And let me speak to that too, because I know that mindset. I've been there, right? Where it's like, well, I don't have this yet, so I gotta wait until I have this before I start this. In some ways, yeah. Certain things that you're doing in life, yeah, you should wait till you have this foundation first before you do this. But like when it comes to entrepreneurship, you can just start and then kind of navigate your way and learn from your mistakes and fill in the gaps along the way as you get more information. But look at it like this. Like I like to teach people and coach people with analogies. Like if you didn't think you could coach at level 3 until you got to level 10, like there wouldn't be any preschool teachers. There wouldn't be any elementary school teachers. There wouldn't be any, junior high school teachers, because all those teachers would be waiting until they're qualified to coach at a collegiate level. Right. I can't coach preschool. I got to get my PhD. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't need to get your PhD to teach preschool. Right. But without people teaching on the preschool level, the PhD teaching level is irrelevant because these kids ain't going to make it that far anyway. So you got to start somewhere. And once you get started, then you can build on top of that based off of, your experience level, based on your confidence level and the additional skills and information that you acquire that make you qualified to teach and coach and serve at a higher level. But the key is getting started. The hardest part is getting started. And sometimes it's a resource thing. Sometimes it's a financial thing. But most of the time, it's a mental thing. It's just a mental block. And it's you making up excuses to justify you procrastinating on taking a chance and stepping outside your comfort zone.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Now, you're primarily on Instagram, right? So you're a coach. You've already started coaching. What was the premises of your coaching?
So really, I just kind of came up with like a little blueprint for people to be able to understand how to grow, like understand what Instagram is, like what it is to build a community, how the algorithm works, a general idea of how to grab attention. And it wasn't cookie cutter. It was well thought out, but it was very basic stuff. It was just in-depth information about basic stuff. And I knew that I had to, in order for me to teach at a higher level and charge a higher price, I had to be able to provide more value. And for me, the value is not just in the information, but it's also in the application. I want to represent what I'm teaching. I want to demonstrate what I'm teaching. There's the coach that points the finger and says, go there. And there's the coach that is in the front and looks back and says, hey, come here. Right. So I want it to be a, hey, come here rather than, hey, go there.
Right.
I wanted to be the example. I wanted to demonstrate. I wanted to go out and just do enough work to understand the nuances of how social media work, from, setting up your account, understanding your audience, creating the content to serve your audience, building the community, and then, being able to turn that into some type of income. So as I was learning this stuff, I was raising my stock. And once I felt confident and comfortable enough, I improved my offer. I changed what I was offering and made it something that was more appealing and more useful for a wider range of people. Right. And I was learning in the process, right? And this is when we go back to what we were saying, like, don't wait until you have it all together to get started, right? Like everybody wants to wait until they're great to get started, but
you have
the
to start
trick is
messy.
You can't get great if you don't start. You got to get started to have a chance at being great.
Exactly. You have to start messy.
Start messy.
You have to start messy. And I'm of the understanding, I live by this. You never graduate from the seat of a student.
Right.
You're always learning. You're always growing. You're always evolving. And so it's very imperative that you just start with the information and the knowledge and the wisdom that you already have.
Yep.
You can invest in coaching, invest in courses, if you will. You can invest in all of these different resources on the way, on the way. You know, I
Yeah.
started this podcast messy, and I tell people all the time, they be like, what equipment you have? My phone, a tripod, this mic I got from Target, this boom arm I got from Amazon, this ring light that I got from Amazon.
Period.
And I got to get a new ring light because it may go out.
It might tomorrow,
It might,
tonight.
it might
It
tomorrow.
might.
It might tomorrow. But I have to start with what I have. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't have a fancy studio. God is going to bless in the very near future, but He only blesses what you are willing to participate and invest in. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You got to
Right.
start with what you have, and so I think that's good that you started with what you had, and look at where you are right now. Which I want to go there because Instagram started off as a single post, carousel type arena, and then they flipped the script and started introducing reels during the pandemic. People got
Yeah.
upset, got mad. I don't want to do videos. I don't want to dance in videos. I don't want to do none of that. So
Yeah.
what was that transition like?
I mean, for me, I was apprehensive towards the transition to reels because of the simple fact that it had taken me so long to just understand how to craft a decent graphic post for people to
Right.
engage with, you know? And then once I felt like I figured out the recipe a little bit, then Instagram was like, yeah, we ain't in that kitchen no more. And I'm like, well, hold on now. I have my chef hat on here. I'm ready to cook up these little picture posts
Right.
and carousels right here. What you mean you ain't in this kitchen no more? So, oh, we in the Reels kitchen now. I'm like, well, let
Right.
me go ahead and get my stuff and go cook up over there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a process for me. I had to get over the mental frustration
Yeah.
because it actually worked out in my favor. Like I
Yeah.
have I was a comedian in my past. I was
Mhm.
never afraid of video. Video was my best friend because it was the best way for me to fully display and articulate the depth of my character, my personality, and just who I am as a person. So when I got out of my own way and started, really it was just the tedious process of learning the buttons. I think that's probably one of the most intimidating parts for people. It's like, I'm not scared of being on video. I'm intimidated by what buttons to press, how to press the button, and how to do the editing. And the thought of
Right.
that is so tedious that it discourages people from wanting to even get started. But like, once you get past that and you learn the basics on how to edit and how to, shoot different formats,
Right.
then it's like, all right, we're here now, right? And a lot of people realize that video is actually a blessing, and it's
Right.
a catalyst to growth. It's a catalyst to impact. It's a catalyst to connectivity.
Right.
So once I got past my little fit, all right, my little knit fit about reels,
Social media tantrum.
yeah, my little tantrum, right, my social media tantrum, I started to embrace video because I was like, yo, like I could be funny, right? I can be funny and people can see a different side of me, and they can, it's a great way to like make people feel good and want to be a part of my community. So I eventually started embracing it, finding, learning how to like find the right audios, the right concepts. And at first it was just a lot of making funny videos and trying to relate it to social media in some way, shape, or form. But then I realized, all right, well, if I really want people to actually invest in my coaching and invest in my workshops, like I need to find a way to put some actual value. Like, yeah, it's cool when you can make a funny post about the struggles of being a creator, but that's going to make people relate to you, but they're going to take their money and go give it to the person who's talking about how to do A, B, C, and D, right?
Right.
Like, I'm going to come to your page to feel good, and I'm going to go to their page to pay my money. And I'm like, no, I need you to feel good and pay me your money. I need both. Okay. So like, let's have an equal exchange here. Don't just come here for the laughs and not bring the money bring the money, just like in church, just like in church. They're like, hey, amen. Hey, now put some money in that bucket now. Because if you want the church to be here next week, we got to pay the rent. So put that money in the bucket. And of course, I'm being silly. You know, I'm being silly,
Hey,
but,
yo,
but
he
it's
turned
true though.
into Eddie Murphy real quick.
It's true though.
Yeah,
I'm not just trying to be out here and be funny, the funny guy. Like,
right.
I want you to know that I can actually give you some value too. So it
Yeah.
took me some time to figure out the recipe on how to create edutaining content, like you referenced when we started this talk, man, this conversation.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. That's good. Out of all of the things that you learned how to do,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Did you learn this from you learned this like where did you learn all of this stuff from? Did you invest it like money into coaching to learn how to do Instagram? Or is this something you just learned on your own, YouTube education, Google, uh, things of that nature? Like, how did you learn how to utilize this platform like you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of all that. Experience it has been a big teacher for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking the time to go on the platform, push buttons, try to psychoanalyze the content I see other people doing that I find engaging, and figuring out what tools they use to create that content, figure out the framework that they use to create that content, and then try to replicate that myself.
Right.
And there's a lot of trial and error. And of course, yeah, you got YouTube, you got Google University, YouTube University. But those only take you so far, because at the end of the day, like a lot of the people that you're watching, like they're gonna give you just enough to know that they have the rest of the information, but they're not gonna give you the rest of the information unless you invest in them, and which is respectable, because at the end of the day, like you can't put a price on time, and it costs them a lot of time to get the information that you don't want to spend any time getting. So we got to put a price on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. And I realized, like, yo, I have to be the type of person that I want to attract. Like, I got to be a good customer. I got to be a paying customer if I want to attract paying customers. Right. If I'm always trying to nickel and dime, and I'm not saying don't look for a good deal, but like, sometimes like you got to just be willing to invest in yourself, and you got to be willing to trust the process. Like, not every guy you dated was the one. Not every woman you tried to date was the one, right? Not every meal that you ordered from the restaurant was the one, but you have to use, your awareness. You have to use your intuition to some degree. You have to use, your educated guessing ability to make an informed decision and invest in information. And you have to be fully present to get the information that you need. But I invested. I used YouTube and all that type of stuff. But when I found somebody that I saw had the content, or they were implementing something that was working for them, and I knew that that was a missing piece for me, I would invest in it. I mean, I've invested between like courses and things like that. I would say by now, like over $25,000 collectively. You know what I'm saying? Some courses cost a few thousand. Some courses cost a few hundred. You know what I mean? Some stuff only costs like $30, but I would say cumulatively over the past few years, yeah, maybe a little anywhere between like 20, 25,000. Because if you don't invest, how do you get better? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to plant the seed, right? You got to water it. You got to get it that sunshine. And that's just a standard part. You know what I mean? A lot of people want something for nothing. And here's the thing. And again, I worked a job.
Right.
And I don't knock people who work a job, but the mentality that having a job and working a 9-to-5 can enforce into people is the idea of, something for nothing. Like, you don't have to do much. Like, you could do the bare minimum at your job and get paid. As long as you do the bare minimum, right? It's fixated. But as an entrepreneur, there's nothing fixated. Like, you have to invest in more information to generate more income, right? Inspiration will get you started. Information will keep you going. And not all information is free.
No.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
No, and
So
that's the thing. We have become so inundated with and addicted to free,
right.
uh, and so but without understanding that those that we are getting the free from, they didn't get it for free.
At all.
They
Right.
didn't get it for free, and so it's very imperative. And I had to learn that because it's I know we shoot this word around. It's very trendy mindset. No, it really for me it was a mindset thing, and I'm still struggling with it sometimes, even today, even while working a 9 to 5. There's a constant mental battle. I'm trying to constantly pull from that employee mindset.
Yeah.
And one of my first interviewees, shout out to Storm Leroy, he said your job is your first business partner.
Mm,
He said utilize your job to fund your dreams.
right.
Let your job pay. Let your job pay for your future dreams and where you want to go.
Yep.
And so entrepreneurship is a crazy thing, man. And I believe you are entrepreneur first in your mind before it becomes because it before it is brought to fruition, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I want to take the conversation in this direction. So now
Yeah.
we're on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube. I'm here. I say YouTube. Now we're on Instagram.
Yeah.
And most of the audience that I am assigned to, they have an Instagram account. They're posting randomly. They posting some are posting content and things of that nature. More than likely, they are on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
Could you go into some detail? And I know we throw these words out, tips and tricks and things of that nature. Could you, from a beginning standpoint,
Yeah.
as if someone is starting on Instagram, brand new. Let's say they want to start an Instagram. Well, let's say they want to start with the account they have. Would you suggest they start with the account that they have, or create a brand new one if they want to get really serious in creating that content that's going to draw their dream customer or dream audience to them? Could you walk through that whole process of how to figure out who your target audience is, the avatar, all of these different buzzwords in the entrepreneur
Yeah.
space?
Yeah. I mean, I can dive into that a little bit. And a lot of these things, like, it requires a lot more in-depth explanation, but I'll definitely shorten it while still retaining the context and the value behind it. I mean, if you're planning on starting a brand or starting a business right now, um, you got to decide, is this going to be a personal brand or not a personal brand? If it's a personal brand, that means that you want to be the face of it. The brand revolves around you. You attract people to your brand because of your presence within it, right? Um, if it's not a personal brand, then that's a different thing. Now, if you're going to do a personal brand, like let's say you want to be an influencer, for example, should you keep the same page that you've been using for however long you've had your Instagram? It depends, right? Because if whatever you're doing now is not in alignment with what people knew you for in the past, then it doesn't really make sense to use the page that you're on. Sure, you can gradually morph it and change it. It feels like you should go with that because you already have whatever amount of followers you have, but you want to start fresh, because if you're introducing something new to your audience, you know, you're going to stun them and they're not really going to engage with your new content, and that can cause the algorithm to start working against you because they see people not really engaging with your page, right? And now you have to go through this process of quote unquote retraining the algorithm on who you are, what type of what industry or what categories and what niches you should be associated with. And it's gonna feel like an uphill battle even more, because you're probably going to start to see people unfollow you because you're no longer posting the content that they decided to follow you for in the beginning before you got into your business.
Mm.
So I usually recommend just starting a new page, start fresh, train the algorithm from the beginning on what accounts, what niche, what categories, what industries you want to be associated with, and do the groundwork to start attracting the right people by going and engaging in communities that are already established in the niche that you're in. So go find your top 10 leaders in your industry or top 10 influential people that are in your niche and become a part of their community, engage with their content, engage and interact with the people who are already engaging and interacting with those influencers' content. You know, get in the DMs and send messages, go to other people's pages and comment on their posts and show love, build the buzz, start to build a pulse around your presence, and obviously put out content that's in alignment with what your brand is about. You know, so the first thing that you have to do though is you have to know what it is that you want to build a business around or build a brand around. Is it going to be a product based business? Is it going to be a service based business? Is it going to be, you know, an influence based brand?
Right.
And once you understand that, then you got to ask yourself, okay, who's my audience? Who's my ideal audience? Right? You know, what's their demographic, right? How old are they? You know, where do they live? You know, what's their psychographic? What stage in their life are they at? What challenges are they facing? What interests do they have? Right? You have to dive deep into that, and you have to nail it down to where it's concise enough to create content that directly serves them, but you also have to make sure your audience is wide enough to the point where you can build a big enough community to make a decent amount of income from, right? So these are things that you got to think about before you even put that first post out, because who are you putting it out for if you don't have your target audience dialed in and understand who they are and what, you know, how you can actually serve them. Your content is an extension of your knowledge on how to serve your target audience based off of their interests, their challenges, right? And those, you know, the information that they want to get.
Right.
So once you figure that out, now you can start creating the content. And that's a journey in itself. You just got to figure out what's your content style. You know, I say diversify to identify. Do some single graphic, infographic posts. Do some carousel posts where you kind of tell a story or you give a series or sequence of information. Do Instagram reels. There's multiple forms. There's talking directly to the camera. There's doing lip syncs and memes. There's doing aesthetic B-roll reels where you just put some information in the form of text. There's so many ways to tell stories and to provide value in any of these formats, but you have to test it all out to figure out which one does a couple things. You have to find a sweet spot, and the sweet spot where your content is, it serves and engages your audience, and it's also something that is sustainable and authentic to you. If it's not authentic to you, you're not going to enjoy doing it.
Right.
You're not going to feel enthusiastic about doing it. And eventually you'll experience burnout. If it's not sustainable, you're going to experience burnout, right? Like if you're trying to do these videos that have, you know, Steven Spielberg production behind it, you know, and takes hours and hours to produce. Well, how many of those can you produce for your audience? In the beginning stages, it's about quantity.
Right.
Yeah, you need to have some awareness of quality, but it's about quantity because you just need to get some stuff out there to get present, to be active on the platform, and to quickly figure out what content doesn't work and what content does work so you can double down on the right things and then continue to build your system from that. That could take weeks, that could take months. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people see these stories about, oh, I gained 50,000 followers in 1 week. And it's like, yeah, but you were on Instagram struggling for 5 years before that 50,000 in 1 week. You know, but you're not telling that part of the story. You know, and sure, there are those shooting stars that as soon as they start an account, within 6 months, they got 25, 50, 100,000 followers. That's cool, but that's not a typical story.
It's not relative.
It's
exactly.
not. It's not.
Exactly. And you don't know if they boosted their posts. You don't know if they bought, know, followers and things of that nature. So it's a lot of things that come, that play into that. How so when someone first start their Instagram account and they want to grow their brand and they already have exactly what you just said. They already have that in place.
Yeah.
They already did the education on who the avatar is, who they are called to serve, etc. And so now I'm going to post.
Yeah.
What should I post? What should that person be posting on Instagram today? Because you have a lot of argument on social media, especially on primarily on Instagram, Oh, you should be posting carousels. No, don't post carousels. Post single posts. No, don't post single posts. Post reels. No, post all three. You know,
Yeah.
could you talk a little bit about what should they be posting right now in real time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. We're in an era where, now it's not just reels. Carousels work. They're getting just as much exposure as reels. Infographics or single graphic images work, right? Because Instagram got a lot of complaints about reels taking over the platform and Instagram shifting away from what it originally started as. So now carousels and infographics or single graphic images, they work just as well, but you got to figure out the right dose, right? But you also have to figure out what your strong suit is. If you're a great, you know, uh, written storyteller, then carousels are probably going to be a good bet for you. If you're,
And just for a point of reference, for
yeah,
those of you that may not know what a carousel post, it is a single thought broken up into multiple single posts where you
yeah,
can literally take your finger and swipe
exactly,
through,
yeah,
and then sometimes there's a call to action at the very end. That is called a carousel post.
yeah. So 10 frame, up to 10 frame, or up to 10 slides in a single post. That's what a carousel is. But you got to figure out what your audience is most responsive to. It all works. It all can work. I think Reels is the best bet in terms of reaching new people. If you want to reach a wider audience and get in front of more new people, you want to go with Reels. You want to use carousels to nurture your existing audience, right? People that are already following you. You want to use carousels to dive deeper into the information and value that is tailored towards those people who are already present in your community. And you want to use infographics for both, for your existing audience, but also for your new audience. Infographics and single graphic images, those are designed to be more shareable, right? It's a quick bit of information, a quick bit of value. It's digestible. People can save it in their pocket. People can share it with somebody else, and they all serve a certain purpose. But you got to figure out what your strong suit is. Mine is video. Mine is reels, right? My carousels don't perform as great as my reels do. I still do carousels because carousels are great for selling products and selling your products and selling your services. When you understand the right framework of how to hook your audience into your carousel, how to deliver the value throughout your carousel, and then give the call to action at the end of your carousel, it could be a great source of generating leads and generating sales. All these things can work in different ways. Their original purpose is what it is, but they can be used in different ways, and you have to lean into whatever your strong suit is, right? If we're playing basketball, right? Should I be taking jump shots or should I be taking layups? Well, you should be doing both.
Right.
You should be doing a combination of both. But if you feel like your jump shot, that's your go-to, that's where you're gonna make 90% of your shots. Even though a layup may seem easier in some cases, you got to develop systems that get you into your jump shot. So you might be a stand-up shooter.
Right.
I catch and I shoot. Okay, cool. But you might need to learn how to dribble now. You got to learn how to create a shot for yourself. If your jump shot is your best shot, if your layup is your best shot, you got to find ways to get to the basket.
Right.
You got to find ways to create that opportunity for yourself. But when you're wide open with a jump shot and the lane is clogged up, you got to be able to knock that shot down too.
Got to be able to.
So same thing with Instagram. Like my reels, that's my strong suit. So I've developed numerous ways to share value using reels. Some with short videos, 15 seconds or less, some with 60-second videos. Some videos have transitions. Some videos are just lip syncs. Some videos are me just talking directly to the camera. Some videos are green screen. It's just at the end of the day, I find as many possible ways to share value in the form of a video because that's my strong suit. Now I can do a carousel. It's just going to take me 3 hours to put the daggone carousel together. And it might not perform well, but you know what? I'm going to get it out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
what you have to, that's why I say you have to diversify to identify. it can take you a few weeks, a few months to figure out what content style is your best style. And then it could take you a few more weeks to months to figure out the best way to deliver your value within that style that is most favorable to you.
That's good, man. That's good. That's really good.
That basketball analogy had you going. I think
Hey,
that.
Doc, I'm a hooper, Doc.
I
I'm a
see.
hooper.
I
I'm a
see.
hooper.
I
I'm a
see.
hooper, man. That's my conversation.
Yeah.
Basketball has always been, man. I used to sleep with Spalding.
Okay. You had Spalding. When I was growing up, I ain't had no name brand stuff. It was just a smooth basketball because we went through it. You know what I'm saying? But we got there. We got to Wilson and Spalding eventually.
Yes,
My
sir.
basketball said basketball. That's what it said. It said basketball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. That's good, man. That's good. So we know who our customer avatar is. We know who we're serving. We know what type of content that we possibly want to choose and choose from carousels, from reels, and things of that nature. There's a list of them.
Yeah.
Now we got to understand the algorithm and all of that, and that's a whole different conversation that we don't have time to really talk about, because the algorithm sometimes it gets on my nerves.
Yes, but it is there to help.
It really gets on my nerves, and because especially when you're trying to grow, you're trying to figure things out. That's the whole conversation. But hopefully I will have you back so we can talk about this.
Yeah,
this
we do a part
called
two.
the algorithm. But
Yeah.
let's close this thing out. Let's close this thing out with I want to talk about brand deals, because you spoke about that earlier when it was just you and your girlfriend at the time, which is now your wife. Y'all were able to acquire brand deals. The same knowledge that you have now concerning brand deals, did you use that from the past?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people don't realize, like, you don't have to have 50,000 followers to make money working with brands. Like now, in the era that we're in, like brands, they're actually in a lot of cases quicker to work with a smaller size account that has a higher engagement rate than they are to work with a large account that has a low engagement rate. So, you can have 3,000, 5,000 followers, but if you're an influencer in a specific niche, like, you are a tech head, like you always sharing value about the latest tech, and you have an audience that is very receptive to the content that you post. They're engaged, they're responsive, and they're buying some of the products. They're asking you in the comments, like, hey, what's the link? Can you send me the link? Things like that. And a tech company that launches a new tripod, they want to start doing some promotion. They may not have the biggest budget to go to like an influencer that has 500,000 followers, but they got enough of a budget to work with somebody who's got 3,000 to 5,000 followers, right? But knows that person's going to deliver. They can hit you up. And at the same time, you don't have to wait for them to hit you up. You can make a list of all the tech companies that you want to work with, right? All the software companies that you want to work with, all the clothing brands that you want to work with, right? And you can pitch them on partnering with you. And depending on the size of your following and your pitch and all that stuff, it may not necessarily be money right away, but it might be, hey, listen, like if you send me 2 of your products, I'll create content with it, post it up. And if you give me an affiliate link where I can make 20-25% off of people who buy it, I'd love to partner with you. Right.
Is that how you're approaching these brand deals right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, excuse me. That's one of the ways that I do it now. Like I reach out to brands. Like, yeah, I have, at this current time, I have a little over 100,000 followers, but I still reach out to brands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll reach out to a brand that if I see they have like a new device, like a camera or a lens or a tripod, or maybe it's an app that has some cool editing features and I can tell that they're just getting started, or they've been around for a little while and I just want to partner with them. I don't mind reaching out to them and saying, hey, like, I'd love to collaborate with you. Are you open to doing paid collaborations? And if I have a concept in mind, which is also a good thing to have in your back pocket, Then I'll pitch them on the concept like, hey, I have this concept of doing this type of video, this type of reel. My audience consists of X, Y, and Z. Here's the reason why I think it would be a good collaboration. Get back to me and let me know your thoughts. So I have my media kit ready. My media kit just has my picture. It has a few examples of collaboration videos I've done, a list of the big brands that I've partnered with already, a description of my style and my personality and the demographic of my audience, like what percentage is male versus female, what location a majority of my audience comes from, like is it the United States, is it this country, that country? Like I have those demographics. That's on my media kit. And then I also have something called a rate card, which basically is based off of my insights and my stats or whatever. It has like a baseline guide of like what I should be charging or what companies should be paying me for whatever type of deliverable. And by deliverable, I mean like a reel, a carousel, a story post. It has a baseline rate for each deliverable that a company would want from me if they were to collaborate with me. So it gives them that idea. And then from there, we can continue the conversation. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Real quick, I know we got to leave. Could you give the people, they want to do a reel. Could you give them a small framework that you use personally on how to perform or create a really solid reel? What should they be saying in the reel, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So I think, as far as the framework goes, it's generally the same.
Okay.
You have hook, you have value, you have call to action, right? There's different ways to hook people. There's visual hooks like transitions, animated elements. There's just motion, moving into the camera, moving away from the camera. There's a lot of visual. The visual hook can be the background. Maybe the background is the beach or you're on top of a mountain, something that just grabs people's attention. That's what a hook is. Sometimes it's verbiage. Sometimes it's text. Like on the screen, it says, never do this if you want this, right? The one food you should never eat if you actually want to lose weight. Now, if my target audience are people who are overweight or people who want to lose weight, well, when they see that headline that says the one food you never want to eat if you want to lose weight, well, now that builds curiosity. What shouldn't I be eating? What if I'm eating this thing and that's why I can't lose weight? Let me keep watching this video so I can find out, right? And then you go into the value, right? And then you start talking, hey, listen, like most people's fridge looks like this. You got your juice, you got your fruits, you got this, you got that. But there's one thing that you should never have in here, and it's this. Now you still got the people hanging on, and you show whatever that is. And he said, yeah, well, let me explain why this is bad for you. Because you probably didn't know that this food has this bad ingredient, that bad ingredient, that bad ingredient. And these ingredients actually cause X, Y, and Z in your body, which make it hard for you to lose weight. Now, I have to be honest with you. There's more things that you shouldn't have in your fridge, but we'll cover that in the next video. Hit the follow button on my page for part 2. So now you hooked me. You gave me the value by revealing to me what I shouldn't have in my fridge. And now you put me back on the hook by telling me there's more things I shouldn't have on the fridge. And in order for me to get that information, I need to hit that follow button so I can catch your next post. So now I'm going to go hit the follow button. And maybe in my caption, there's something that says, hey, it reiterates what was talked about in the video. And then it asks a question like, hey, how often do you buy this product? Or, hey, are you guilty of having this product in your fridge? Now you're giving me a reason to go and comment like, yeah, I had that in my fridge. Oh my God, I didn't know this was bad. Oh my God, can I ask you a question? Now we got conversation and engagement going. So I got you to stop and watch my video. I got you to save my video, comment on my video. I got you to hit the follow button. I'm hitting all these buttons. And now Instagram sees this activity happening. So what does Instagram say? Maybe we should push this post out to more people, right? So hook, value, call to action. There's many ways to hook people. There's many ways to deliver your value. And there's many different call to actions. But that's the general format. And if you're just getting started, before you try to learn 20 different versions of a hook, how to deliver value in the call to action, just focus on doing the general part.
Right.
Here's my hook. Here's my value. Here's my call to action. Master that sequence and that format, and then learn different ways, right? Like, you get on the basketball. I gotta go back to basketball because I'm a basketball player, right?
Come on, Dad.
Like, you get on the court, you want to dribble like Iverson. Like,
Right.
I'm trying to dribble like Iverson. I'm trying to dribble like Kobe. I'm trying to dribble like Stephen Curry. I'm trying to dribble like Kyrie. And it's like, no. First, let's practice bouncing the ball and keeping it no higher than your waist.
Right.
Let's master that first. Because if you
Right.
can't master that, you ain't gonna be able to dribble like Iverson anyway.
No.
Right?
No.
I'm trying to dunk like Jordan. I'm trying to dunk like LeBron. Matter of fact, I'm trying to dunk like Vince Carter. And it's like, how about we focus on jumping up and touching the rim first?
Exactly.
Can you even touch the rim?
Exactly.
Do you know how to plant your feet and bend and jump the right way without hurting yourself? Let's focus on learning how to jump the right way before we focus on dunking. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, I'll tell you this, like, mentality-wise, for everybody that's listening, like, you have to master the mundane. If there's nothing else that I can teach you, master the mundane and find joy in mastering the mundane. A lot of what it takes to build a foundation is just a bunch of repetitive, mundane activity. To develop your skills, a bunch of repetitive, mundane activity. To grow your community, a bunch of mundane, repetitive activity, right? To get better at content, a bunch of mundane, repetitive activity. But if you master it, you give yourself the solid foundation to be able to make money. You give yourself a solid foundation to be able to establish authority and influence and impact. And when you can master the mundane, all the other stuff becomes a lot easier, right? If you can discipline yourself in mastering the mundane, you can have longevity in building your community and building your business using social media. Master the mundane.
Master the mundane. That should be a headline on a shirt or a hoodie or some sort.
Yes, sir.
That's good right there, man. Listen, man, we gotta put a bow on this present and wrap it up and give it to the people, man. We gotta close it out. But before we close it out, could you tell the people, because what I want to do, if you allow me to, I want to show people how to connect with you. How can people connect with you, and whatever social platforms and whatever links you have to digital assets that you would like to share with people on how to grow on Instagram, etc. I'm gonna post it down in the show notes and the descriptions. Share with the people how they can get in contact with you, Monty.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing is just find me on Instagram, Monty Lance, MontyLans. Give me a follow. When you once you've done that, shoot me a DM and let me know that you found me from this interview, so I know that you came through from this amazing podcast. And join my broadcast channel, which is the Creative Genius Society. That's where we talk about all things creativity, content, marketing. We're really out here growing, and making a positive impact. And just turn on your notifications for my content. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like, there's plenty of opportunities to work together. I have a lot of freebies. Just reach out to me. Just reach out to me. That's what I want to do. I want to connect with you. I don't want to just give you these links and send you off. I want to actually connect with you. So all I'm giving you is follow me on Instagram, DM me to let me know that you found me on this interview, and ask me any questions that you have, and we can take it from there. I want to actually connect with you and build a relationship and serve you directly. So that's what I'll leave you with. And then when it comes to resources, stuff like that, just hit me up in the DMs and ask me for what you're looking for. And if I got it, I'll give it to you.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. Let's put a bow on this, man. Listen, what would you want to leave with the people right now? They in their beginning stages, they're struggling, they're frustrated, they've been crying, they're trying to figure this thing out. They know they have a purpose, they know they have a gift, they know they have a skill. They may not be able to do reels just like you, as great as you, but they can do something. They just don't know what that something is. Could you talk directly to them and encourage them, uplift them, and give them give them something to leave with, something that they can cherish, going forward in their journey.
Yeah, I mean, if not now, when, right? Like time is moving with or without all of us. And sometimes we're not motivated enough with our own self-interest or for our own personal gain, even though we do want to advance our lives. Sometimes it's the thought of somebody else. So the question I would ask you is, whose life doesn't change because you don't get started? Whose life does not get impacted in a positive way because you're still making excuses, or you're still talking yourself out of the opportunity, or you're still doubting yourself, or you're still investing into your self-limiting beliefs rather than the calling that God put in your heart? Is it your kids? Is it your spouse? Is it your future kids? Is it your family? Is it your community? Who right now is going to continue struggling because you are not getting started? Right? So by you taking action, you activate a blessing, not just for yourself, but for other people as well. So as long as you remain stagnant and immobilized, right, and paralyzed because of fear, because of doubt, because of discouragement, you're withholding yourself from making an impact that can literally open up other doors for you to be able to do more with your life and bring you that fulfillment, right? You already know that where you're at is not where it's at. This ain't where it's at.
Right.
So why are you making more excuses to stay there?
Mm.
I'll leave you with a question rather than a statement.
Mm. That's good, man. Y'all heard it, man. Y'all heard it. Listen, man, figure out what your why is. Your why stands for what's hurting you. And if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not big enough. Listen, you have listened to another episode of the Legacy Inspired podcast where I am your host, Randy. I have my man, Monty Lanes, the Instagram guru, the Instagram fanatic, the Instagram strategist himself. Listen, he gave y'all the game, and Lord say the same. I'm gonna have him back on so we can dive a little bit deeper. By that time, Instagram is not even gonna have an algorithm.
Nah, they'll have 20 more. That's what they
have 20 more. They have 20. And so, listen, man, that's it, man. Grace and peace. See you on the next episode.
God bless.